finally we have the Dragon. And the Dragon are perhaps the most mysterious of our three factions that the players can choose among. These guys are based in Seoul, South Korea. Now, the Dragon believe in the philosophy that every avalanche, every landslide in the world began with a single pebble falling at exactly the right time. And they believe that in order to influence world events, the player simply needs to be in the right place at the right moment, and with a light touch they can create ripples, which will expand out and change the fabric of the entire universe. So, that's a quick look at who the factions are and what they do, but how this affects the player's play experience is, first of all, starting city. Second of all, three-way factional PvP, and we're very excited about three-way factional PvP because most MMOs coming out have two-way factional PvP. So what happens is you get on a server, you get one side that becomes dominant, and the other side's always struggling to keep up based on player numbers. But when you have three-sided factional PvP, when one side becomes dominant, the other two sides will ally to take them down. And so you get this whole political sort of alliance shifting going on, and we really want to see that in the Secret World. We think it fits very well with the theme of our game. The third way in which your choice of faction affects your play experience is in PvE, in something we call the Secret War. Now, we have ranking missions. Players will earn ranks within their faction, which give them access to more vendors, item recipes, missions, and of course secret knowledge about their factions. And computers basically allow players to do things that make sense in the setting.
That must be our contact. Wait, no. That's not him. We're doing that face through our database.
And immediately we have guy in trench coat and bowler hat in our conspiracy game. And the plot thickens. It's not the contact that the Illuminati were expecting to have here. So straight away we're going to find out more about what this conflict is.
And bingo. There we go. And oh fuck. We've got a known Templar's operative on scene. Something's up. Track him down, find out what's going on.
Alright, so immediately we're playing the Templars and the Illuminati off against each other. Templars are on scene, the player didn't expect that. Now I'm going to talk quickly about our rendering technology, Dreamworld 2.0, because you may have seen these mechanics in single-player games, but this is the first time that in an MMO, as far as we're aware, that players are able to actually attach dynamic lighting to themselves. In this case, the player is attached a headlamp, using that to light up the darkened corners of this instance. Now, one of the choices that the player makes here, it's a very tactical choice, because equipping a headlamp means that the monsters will actually see you from further away and be able to aggro you from further away. Some monsters, however, will be scared of the light, so they'll try to run away, and some monsters will be stunned by having light on them. So it's a tactical choice. Do you try to skulk from darkness to darkness, or do you put on a headlamp and run the risk of being seen from further away? And you can see that we can also do this in PvP. Have a dark instance where players have to make a choice between being seen by all the other players or seeing themselves. Probably worth noting that Martin is kind of cheating a lot. The combat doesn't usually go with one-shotting. Martin's sped up increased his damage amount so that we can get through the demo rather quickly today.
Either I just lost the feed or it's lights out. Be careful. I'm getting some weird readings.
Alright, so the headlamp has run out of battery. Now we need to find an alternative light source if we want to see what we're doing. So Martin's going to grab some road flares from the back of this car here. And this is another example of how we can allow players to actually place dynamic lighting in our environment to create their own patches of light, which they can use to lure in monsters, for example, like moths to a flame, and they can use to see what they're doing in these areas. And again, it's a tactical choice because you'll only have a limited number of flares and you have to think about where and how you want to use them. So, a quick note on the storytelling that we're doing in these instances. With this instance, we're actually seeing it from the Illuminati perspective. But if we were to play this as a Templar, we would arrive in the car park when the lights were still on, and we would be the reason that the lights go out. And if we were to play this as a Dragon, we would arrive in the instance when all of the monsters that you're seeing here are actually still humans, members of the Mafia. And we would be the reason that the monsters mutate, that the humans mutate into monsters. So it's this three-sided storytelling concept where we play the three factions off against each other in order to create a sort of a dissonance between the three, so that when it comes time for PvP, everyone goes in gloves off. Alright, so this is one of our bosses known as the Devourer, and the most unepic moment in MMO history. Martin's going to one-shot him. Sorry. Sake of the demo and all that. But as you can see, we can really use our lighting tech to create some really interesting effects within the game. So we're coming up on the place where the player was supposed to meet their contact. And of course, nothing is ever straightforward in the secret world.
What the hell is going on down there? I'm pulling you out right now.
Alright, so as you can see, the player was set up by the other factions, and kind of what we want players to carry out of these ranking missions is a real hatred for the other factions, because then they're going to go out into the PvP playfields and punch the hell out of each other. Martin's going to come up here and talk to you a little bit more about how that actually works in our game.
Yeah, so the three secret societies, they stand united in a battle against the rising darkness, but they are very much divided in the pursuit for power. It's all smiles above the table, but drawn knives beneath it. So what that means for the player is that the player can team up with anyone from any secret societies when it comes to going out and killing the monsters in the secret world. But when it comes for the battle for world domination, it's gloves off and all-out warfare. So we're taking a look at how this plays out in the PvE aspect of the game. Now we're going to take a look at how this plays out in PvP. Okay, so all over the world there are these iconic and legendary locations. And in these locations are powerful artifacts. Each of the three secret societies wants to control these artifacts, because they don't only make them stronger in the battle against the rising darkness, but it makes them stronger in the battle against the other secret societies. So what this means for the player is that he gets to travel around the world to these iconic locations and battle and do PvP battles against the other secret societies. And each location features a unique game mode. What's also cool about this is that each location is capturable. And if a secret society manages to capture and hold any of these locations, they provide bonuses for their entire faction, and not only the ones PvPing. So what you'll see pop up on the screen in a second now are some of these locations. We call them the battlefields. In these battlefields, players can quickly join for some fast-paced, intense PvP action against the other secret societies. What's cool about these locations is that every single one of them is rooted in a myth or a legend that you guys might or might not have heard of. But today we're going to take a look at these particular three ones and see what they are. Starting with Stonehenge. So everybody knows that Stonehenge exists, but we don't really know what Stonehenge was used for or what it can be used for. That knowledge has been lost. But recently, the three secret societies have discovered how to harness the power of Stonehenge, and they're now battling over who gets to control this power. This next location might not be as familiar as Stonehenge. This place vanished off the map centuries ago, but recently the long-lost Kingdom of Shambhala has reappeared on the map in the Himalayan mountains. And the three secret societies are battling over who gets to control this kingdom and the power it possesses. It's a beautiful location, if you ask me. No one does. Okay, this next one might be more familiar. This is El Dorado, the city of gold. This place has eluded adventurers for hundreds of years. Nobody's been able to find it, from the Spanish conquistadors to modern-day explorers. But recently, it has revealed itself to the three secret societies, and they're now battling over who gets to control these ancient, powerful Mayan relics that are hidden here in the ruins of El Dorado. But in addition to this, lies something bigger and something greater. In addition to these smaller and focused battlefields, lies the persistent war zones, where over 100 players can clash together in these epic PvP battles. Now the gameplay in these war zones are quite different from the smaller battlefield ones. In the war zones, it requires more tactical thinking and strategy in order to be successful. But if a secret society manages to capture and hold any of these war zones, the rewards are even greater. So what we're going to take a look at now is an example where Illuminati has recently captured a Chinese temple. And right now, every single member of the Illuminati secret society on that server are reaping those rewards. Of course, the Dragon and the Templars wants to control this for themselves. So what we'll see today is that we're going to follow a band of Dragon players trying to take this from Illuminati to get this temple for themselves. So what you'll see from this fighter is that these war zones are much bigger than the smaller battlefields. And as I said, we're going to follow this band of dragon players trying to capture one objective out of 4 in this zone. This is just 1 out of 4 to give you guys a sense of the size. The first thing they need to do is reach those gates, then work their way towards the center of the temple, and finally they have to battle the defending Illuminati players and the Guardian Automaton. I'll talk a little bit about who that guy is later. So this is our group of dragon players. They just entered the war zone. The first thing they need to do is reach the gates to the temple. In order to do that, they need an anima charge. In order to get an anima charge, they need to control an anima well. This is an anima well. Once they control the well, they can extract 1 anima charge, and they need to place 5 of those charges on the gates. The Illuminati players have already been notified that there are Templars and Dragons in the zone, so they're already defending it. And as I said, you needed 5 of those charges. So the group is going to split up. One group is going to go for 1 charge, we're going to follow this group right here that's going to go for a different charge. So as these guys are progressing towards the anima well, they're going to realize that the Templar had a very similar plan. These are the Templars. They're going for the exact same anima well. And right outside of the anima well, the 2 groups clash together and the battle is unavoidable. But in this case, the dragons manages to sneak a small group into the anima well. What they're doing now is capturing that well. You'll see that the symbol changes from Illuminati to dragon. That means that the dragon is now controlling the anima well, and they can extract 1 charge. And as you can see, you're very visible when you're carrying an anima charge. So it's really important that your teammates are there to defend you, because you need to make it alive from the anima well and to the gates. And as these guys are getting closer and closer towards the temple, more and more players are joining in the fight. And one of the big challenges that we had when we were designing PvP for this game was we don't have any classes. So how do you know who you're fighting? You kind of need to know if you're fighting a tank-type character or a healer type of character or whatever. So as you can see, everybody's fighting with a uniform, and the uniform serves 2 purposes. One, it indicates your secret society. See that it's green, blue, or red. In addition to that, see, every uniform is slightly different. That is to indicate your role in combat. See, that guy is heavily padded. He's a tank-like character. That guy is more agile. He's a damage type of character. So if you take the time to learn your opponent's uniform, it'll give you a hint on what sort of abilities they brought with them into battle. But back to our group of dragon players. They're now arriving at the gates, and they're meeting up with that second group of dragon players. That second group has already gotten rid of the Illuminati guards, and all they need to do now is place the 5th and final charge on the gate, and as they do, it opens up. The Illuminati players are ready to make their final stand. They really want to protect their temple, but the dragon players just pour through the gates and keep pushing the Illuminati players closer and closer towards the center of the temple. And eventually, the Automaton will join in the fight. The Automaton is the guardian of the temple. He's an ancient being from the 3rd age, different age than us. He can soak up a lot of damage and also dish out the fair share. But in this particular example, the dragon manages to disable the Automaton, and they're now infusing him with the dragon magic. As you can see, he changes color to green. That means he's now loyal to the Dragon Secret Society, which means that the dragon now successfully managed to capture this temple. And as I said in the beginning, this temple is just 1 out of 4 objectives in this particular war zone. But if the dragons manages to capture 1 more, it goes from Illuminati control to dragon control. And in that second, every single member of the Dragon Secret Society on that server are getting those rewards. So there you see how the Secret War infuses everything in the game, from the choices you do at character creation to the PvE aspect of the game, and really climaxes in the PvP part of the game. Yep. The game releases in April 2012,